Hey everyone, it's Bennett, your fantasy football commissioner, here with the Week 10 recap of the Forest Land Mishmash Fantasy Football League. And it was a pretty exciting week. We had sort of mass scoring the week before in terms of points. Um, so this week was a lot more higher scoring. It was one of the few weeks where I literally sat there on the couch Sunday from 1 until 7:30 with Evan, my son, and literally watch football all day. And it just goes to show. Bill Simmons made a great point where he talked about how the real good games are Sunday night and Thursday night, and or even the late afternoon. And really, the Sunday games are just for gambling and fantasy football. And that's what it's like because I think out of the 8 early games, only one game had a decent ending. But it didn't matter because we had 8 games on at the same time. We had fantasy football, we had stuff to watch, and it was awesome. So here's the scoreboard. A lot of good scoring, only one team in single digits. And we had one team well over 200 points and a couple in the 190s. So a lot of good scoring this week. Let's get off to the first game, which is the Tough Luck Cartel and the Stallions. Both of these teams, as a matter of fact, 3 teams from the Mish division, the Stallions, the Cartel, and the Travelers, have all been up and down, had some really close games, all have had some tough losses and some squeakers. So this week it was the Cartel's turn. And they lose 149, 156. And a lot of this game came down to Monday night crapola game with my Giants and the 49ers. And Eli Manning finally had a good day. He had 3 touchdowns, only 100 and what was it, 188 yards, but no picks. So that's a nice solid 22 points. But really only 13 from Saquon. You really needed that big run or receiving touchdown or something because needed a lot more points. As you can see, almost everyone other than the tight end for Tampa Bay was in double digits, but just not quite enough from James Conner too. So Barkley on Monday night, but if we go back to Thursday night, you had the Steelers with 52 points. James Conner and Juju Smith-Schuster both had first quarter touchdowns, and in spite of the 52 points, didn't do anything else for the rest of the game. So that got it off to a pretty good but not great start on Thursday night, and ended with same kind of thing, good but not great. Sunday night, they only get 149 points. The Stallions get the win, even though Cooper Kupp is out for the year now. He tore his ACL. And really, it was funny. Kittle for the Niners had 9 catches for 83 yards. So even though the Niners basically did nothing on offense, and the quarterback Mullins, who's the third string quarterback, who had a great first game, didn't do so hot in the next game. And I should have had this box score up beforehand. I'll see if I can do it quickly, just to show you the comparison between a mediocre quarterback, but if you get that one skill player making catches, you can do well. So if we look at the line, we've got the quarterback for the Niners, Mullins, with he actually did pretty good, 250 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. So from a fantasy perspective, nothing special. But again, Kittle is the benefit of that, where he had, again, 9 catches for 83 yards and didn't even need a touchdown. And the Stallions get the win to keep their hopes alive. They moved to 4-6, and the Tough Luck Cartel moved to 5-5. We had another good game, which was the Colon Cleansers, really bad luck. They're just having the worst season and have their best scoring point output of the year, starting with that Thursday night game with Roethlisberger's 43 points. He had a ton of points. Luck had a great game. Fournette, who's been hurt all year, comes back with a bang. Beckham did pretty good Monday night. He had 2 touchdowns. And just not enough scoring against one of the top 3 teams in the league in scoring with first down order, who's also been up and down, but they're 6-4. They've got Mitch Trubisky, who's been pretty amazing the last couple of weeks. If you look at his fantasy totals, I mean, he's been awesome. Look at that. He had that one 6-touchdown game, but he's had all these other points. Only one game since week 4 has not gotten double-digit fantasy points. So Mitch Trubisky's been amazing. And David Johnson, for the first time in a long time, came in with a bunch of points. He had easily had his best game of the year, even though he's been pretty steady all year. So the first down order just too much for the colon cleansers, and they fall to 1-8-1, just having a tough year, even with Fournette and Roethlisberger scoring a bunch of points, just not quite enough. Couldn't quite get enough on Monday night. We also have third and Oolong going to 6-4. This was a game of pretty even teams. They were both 5-4 going into this game, and third and Oolong gets a pretty respectable points. McCaffrey's just been consistent all year. Look at his points. I mean, he's been in double digits every week. He's had a couple 30s in a row. He's been really good. Hasn't even had that many touchdowns, but he's catching a lot of passes and really steady. So Christian McCaffrey's been great for third and Oolong. Matt Ryan, in a disappointing loss for the Falcons, still gets 23 fantasy points. Antonio Brown could have had a lot more points, again, in that Monday night game or that Thursday night game that started the week. And in spite of Jimmy Graham with only one catch, they get 165 points. And just a little tough luck for the Finkel Kicking Academy. Cam Newton sort of got throttled that Thursday game. Kareem Hunt, you'd expect a lot more. That was interesting how, you think Kansas City at home against the Cardinals, they're favored by 13. They would have scored 40 or 50 points, but they only scored like 25 points or so. So Kareem Hunt definitely could have had a much better game and just not enough points. Too many single digits down here for Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy. Of course, didn't help to have a couple of points on the bench. Kerryon Johnson obviously would have been better, but who are you going to start? You can't put McCoy or Kareem Hunt down. So I guess it was between Kerryon Johnson and Ito Smith, and sometimes you pick the wrong guy, and that's always tough to lose like that. So the battle between 2 5-4 teams, and third and Oolong gets the best. They go to 6-4. Third 3-game winning streak. Finkel falls to 5-5. Still much in the playoff hunt as we have 4 weeks to go. And then we have the two blowouts, the Chicago Travelers, Temmie's team, who is leading the league in scoring with this huge day, just all around. Nick Chubb, obviously with a 92-yard touchdown run, didn't hurt. Aaron Jones has been great surprise for Green Bay. This was easily his best day of the year. So really at the top, Rodgers, Wentz, Gurley. Gurley's been consistent all year. I don't think he's got a single, I was going to say not even close to any single-digit games. I mean, he's had at least 19 points in every game, and he's had 5 over 30-point fantasy games. So Gurley's got to be the consistent fantasy football MVP so far. Also, Zach Ertz, the Carson Wentz Zach Ertz combo. I think Ertz had 14 catches for 145. I mean, that's just awesome. I mean, especially if you look at my tight end, for example, Jordan Reed's got like 8 points every week. Meanwhile, you got Kelsey and Ertz and some other tight ends just rocking it. Speaking of Kelsey, only had 10 points, but wasn't really needed as the Travelers throttle Graceland. Graceland can't even get 100 points. They also get -1 for the Seattle defense and just not getting it done against the Travelers, and they throttle Graceland, and they're 5-5, even though Graceland still has a better record. And then finally, we had another blowout with the Slim Aussies and Show Me Your TDs. This game was actually close. Speaking of tight ends and career days, the early games was looking real good for Show Me Your TDs. They had 3 different Colts players, Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, and Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron had his first ever 3-touchdown game. Easily his most points, second most points of the year. So Ebron's been really good. He's been one of those really good tight ends all year. He gets 29 points in a career-high 3-touchdown game. I think he had a rushing touchdown, was the 3rd touchdown. So it was looking really good early for Show Me Your TDs, but Aussies just took it away. You had, of course, Breeze just did what his thing in the early game. You had Melvin Gordon in the late game, and you had Ezekiel Elliott in the night game. So all those people, plus Brandon Cooks, probably had his best day of the year. He's been pretty good, but he hasn't had too many just blow-up games, but he's been really consistent all year. He had a couple beat games. I think he got hurt, got that concussion against Seattle, and then had a mediocre game, but and a couple low-teen double-digit games. Brandon Cook's been really good, and that was probably his best game of the year. 10 catches for exactly 100 yards. You got to love that. And in spite of having Corey Davis and his 26 points on the bench, the and also Slim Ozzy's benefit from Hopkins and Deshaun Watson being on a bye. They get the 196-128 victory, and they're at 8-2. And so now we'll take a look at the standings, where we only have 4 games left. Unbelievable how fast the season goes. We're 10 games in with 4 left. We've got the Slim Aussies with a 2-game divisional lead. They're looking good. Graceland with a good record, but not a lot of points, and that may come back to haunt her later in the year. And as we talked about, the Mish division is very strong. You've got 2 teams over 500 in the MASH division. But if we take a look at points for both divisions, you've got 3 teams in the Mish division with 1,700 more points, and only 1 team in the MASH division with even 1,600 points. So the MASH division is very top-heavy this year. The Travelers have the most points. They are in 3rd place, but only trailing 2nd place by a game, and would obviously win the tiebreaker. And somehow Sarah Graceland at 1,480 points somehow has a winning record. We'll see if she can keep that lead and maybe score some more points the rest of the year. And you also have 3rd and Oolong and first down order with very respectable scores. Finkel Kicking Academy not too far behind. So still a lot of football to be played. Remember, we'll take a look at the playoff bracket. The 2 division winners are guaranteed playoff spots, but the next 2, the 2 wild card playoff teams, could come both from the same division. So you could have 3 from one division. So if we were going to look at the playoffs, if the season ended today, you would actually have 2 and 2, because you have 6 win teams. So in this case, you have the 2 division winners, 3rd and Oolong and the Slim Aussies, and then you have the next 2 teams that each have 6 wins, so they're going to make the playoffs. But as we go forward, if there are any tiebreakers, points are going to really come into play. So we'll see if Graceland can hold off and stay in the playoff hunt as we go to week 11. There's like 6 teams on a bye this week, but most of them suck. Other than the Patriots, it's like the Browns and a bunch of really crappy teams are on byes this week. So hopefully not too many people will get killed with byes. And that's it for week 10. I hope you enjoyed, and 2 weeks in a row for the update. So I'm happy that I got on the ball for 2 weeks in a row. I'll try and keep that going the rest of the year. Thanks for listening.